Hey, what's going on, you guys? I haven't watched the news quite a while, and I hear my family talking about this whole idea about the monuments of the rebel people, or the people of Confederacies, more or less, people understanding. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, who is making more big deal about these military men who fought and died for this country? Who is actually, I mean, I don't want to sit here and say the black people's, the blame that wanting to bring it down, or the white people wants to bring it down. But here's my opinion about the whole ordeal. Okay, just like these people that is trying to preserve and protect the history of these Confederate men, think about if they start taking down all that. What makes you think that that? I guess what I'm saying is, if you're going to take those down, who are leaders of this country, who fought for this country, who died for this country, you might as well take away the leaders that try to get civil rights. Civil right meaning Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King. I don't know if Malcolm X has a statue or memorial of him. Should. Now, when I say all this, just hear me out, people. They shouldn't be taken down no more than Dr. Martin Luther King's statue should be taken down, because these are men who fought for equal rights for everyone. And you want to disrespect the men of military over our opinions, because we don't think them, even though they're dead. That is the way we think them for fighting for this country, because without them, this country would not be what it is today. That's just like saying that all that work that Martin Luther King did to fight for equal rights for all races, especially for the African American community, to have equal rights of the United States. They've got that. All this is starting is because of what some white people think about black people. And when I say that, I'm talking about people in law enforcement. Now, I'm not saying all law enforcement is bad, but it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out that, black or white, there are corrupt cops. The ones who died, last year, or this time last year, they shouldn't have died. All because of one cop in each state, in one city, used the word nigger. That's another thing I want to talk about. Again, not trying to be racist here, but the African American or the black people need to understand this. The word nigger does not represent the color of your skin. Because I could be a nigger. A person could be, because you know what the definition of that word means? Person who's uneducated, laziness, disrespectful. So anybody who hates that word, especially the black community, wake up, folks. It doesn't represent your skin color. It's the way you carry yourself in life. And I think that word should be used white people, Latino people, and if you're a black folk that it falls in that category what I said, then you are that. Because there are true, hard-working black people. Look at, and if you want to know who it is, Dallas, Texas, Crease Tennessee. She's an African American. She's a hard worker. I've seen scientists who are black, doctors who are black, there are police officers who's black. We had a president of the United States who was black. Does that make him a nigger? No, it doesn't. It makes him an American citizen who loved this country enough to run this country. Regardless of what people agree or disagree on, he did help run this country. And he did try to make peace with the white and the black people. And that's all I want. I said it in the past. I love all people. Respect me as a man, respect me as a person, and I respect you back. That's like the old saying, if you don't mess with a poisonous snake, the poisonous snake won't mess with you. Now I know that's kind of a bad analogy, but why mess with something that's not broken? It's stop blaming all white people for being bad. Because I have a black friend. He's like a brother to me. But I don't see him as a black person. I see him as a person. And all this bullshit, you want that even our white people wants to break down Robert E. Lee here in Dallas, Texas, and all over the United States. These rebel people who died for us. It's got to stop. Respect them as you respect Martin Luther King. Because these men stood up for something. And that's conviction. And another thing. African Americans or black people has been in this country 200 plus years. When are you going to start realizing that you are an American citizen and you share this land? And I'm happy to share this land with you. And I love to be friends with black people. Because again, I don't look at you the color of your skin. I look at you because the person you are. Because I've had a drug dealer, God rest his soul, was a real good friend of mine. He was a school teacher. But back when in the 90s, when they started handing out those pink slips, he was one of them that was got rid of. Sometimes I wonder if they got rid of him because he's black or because he's not educated enough. Who knows? I mean, there could have been a lot of controversy back then. All because he's seen a student selling drugs, he started doing it. Is it wrong selling drugs? Yes. But he did it for a reason, and that is to survive. Because we all try to survive in this country. But we have too many people disrespecting others. That's what I was talking about. I don't believe everything in the Bible, because if we really truly go by what goes on in the Bible, our heads would just spin around like Linda Blair off The Exorcist. The Bible says, love thy neighbor. It's not talking about neighbors who lives in a house in front of you or each side of you or behind you. He's talking about human life. Whether they are black, white, Hispanic, Native Americans, or Indians. I can say that because I'm part Indian. So, I mean, you can't tell, but I do have Native American blood in me. And people still disrespect everyone else because they're too bad, or excuse me, too fat, too skinny, too tall, too white, too black, too disrespectful. When are you going to realize that no one's going nowhere except when it's our time, we're all going to die? So instead of trying to defeat a person by their race, their sexual orientation, the way they dress, keep your opinions to yourself. And I know everyone has a mom and dad, regardless if they raised them or not. The ones that did raise their children, as my mom said, and my grandmother said it, and my great grandmother said it, as well as my grandparents, says, if you can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all. Start loving your neighbor. So, there's so much I want to say, and it's just trying to put it out there without hurting anyone's feelings, without getting them angry. Because I know that once this hit YouTube, there's going to be a lot of people who's going to say, oh, you disrespectful, oh, you're a traitor, oh, you used the N-word. No, I didn't use the N-word out of racial tension. I used it because it is a word. And I'm not trying to defend anyone. The only thing I'm asking is respect that person, what they've done in the past. And that's another thing I want to talk about. Even my family's told me this. What happens in the past should stay in the past. That's not always true. And let me explain why. And I've said it in my last vlogs. How can you leave something in the past? I can see if you stole something and then you got caught, or your parents told you to take it back and tell the manager you're sorry and all that, or pay for it, or whatever, you go to jail over it. But bigger things, like me, I've had a great aunt says, when I got run over, and what I'm talking about is when I got run over by a car. Things like that, something like that girl here a year or two ago, maybe a little longer, who got her face cut up in the propeller. They said, yeah, all that's in the past. But your past lives with you each and every day. Little things I can understand leaving the past. But big things, because I look at my foot every day, and I've lived at this since 1979. And I think to myself, and I ask myself every day, why did I look across the street before I walked out in front of her? Why wasn't my parents there? I mean, I'm not blaming them, don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming my mom. It may sound like I am. But I asked myself, if I would have stayed in the house with my dad while he was watching the football, actually he was on the toilet, but I didn't want to go into all that glory details. But anyways, if I would have stayed in there, maybe none of this would have happened. And I wonder what my life would have been like. If it would have been better, would it still be the same? They say little things change the whole, changes a whole lot. If I could change one thing without changing the whole entire, what is that thing like? When you do change it, it messes up the row of life. Well, anyways, if you know what I'm talking about, that would be the one thing I'd change. Being overweight, could live with it because I could lose weight. Being gay or am gay, I think even if I didn't get run over by a car, I would still probably have my life, or this would be my lifestyle. Because you can't change that. You can't change anything. And then, and here a while back I was watching something on YouTube about this African American woman who was on the Tyra show. She's talking about, oh no, gay is a choice. You know, God didn't make you that way. Again, it seems like every time that you can't say, oh, I don't want to be your friend, or I can't be friends with gay people, instead of saying that, you want to say, oh, it's abomination to uh, for same-sex people to live together. You need to stop and think. If you're saying that, then you must not really know the Bible, because, and again, and I will say this 100 times, every time I hear a TV show and somebody says that, even if I'm YouTube or Facebook, of course I don't have a Twitter account, but if I had one, if I hear it on Twitter or Instagram, somebody always saying, oh, the Bible says this, oh, the Bible says that, oh, Bible also says these things. One already said, love thy neighbor. Bible also says, you shall not judge, or you will be judged, or you're accountable for your judge, which is a sin. But let's get into the real issue about murder and who has more rights and who doesn't have more rights. Okay? Now, before I say it, this is going to be on the female side. It's nothing about race. It's about females. If you really pay attention to the Bible does say the woman's place is in the home. Now, that's not my view. That's talking about the Bible. Do I feel like that women want to get out? If they want to work, yeah, go right ahead. Do it. That's your prerogative. Because at the end of the day, you might be a female, but you're still a human being that wants to provide for your family, provide for yourself. It's just like the African American community have the same rights as men. And I'm all for that. If it's about speaking up, and speak up, like our constitutional right says, we have the right to free speech. So if anyone will sit there and say, oh, well, I didn't have the right to say that, you know, you can't take that right away from me. Our founding presidents and government put in the constitutional rights, freedom of religion, or freedom of expression, or press, whatever you want to call it. To me, it's free speech. We in the United States have more rights than any other states. If you was to be living in, just like these Muslim people, you know, yes, Muslim people are the ones that, and I don't know why I call them people, it's a religion. Muslim is a religion. And because of what those men did in September 11th, 2001, turned against all Muslims. And sure, yes, Muslims still said, oh, Christianity's not good. Oh, we want to take God's name out of the flag, you know. I pledge allegiance to the United States and of America, which stand one nation under God. Yes, it's a Christian prescription or scripture. It's because it was made for people who believe in Jesus, God, and the devil. All the Muslims believes in. I'm getting offhand here. I'm sorry. My point is, because just like White Cop there in Missouri, Louisiana, and Florida, who killed the African American, because they screwed up. All white people are that way. What about what I'm saying, 9/11? Because what they did, we don't trust anyone who say, oh, I'm a Muslim. You know, look at Vernon Howe, a.k.a. David Koresh. He represented Christianity. He was the Branch Davidians. He stood 51, 52 days here in Waco. Does that mean all Christians are bad? That's usually when there's a difference between extremists and true value. Because I had some ex-friends, and I'm explaining later on the reason why they're ex-friends, who says their God, Allah, or whatever you want to call him, in the Quran, still said you had love and peace and harmony with everyone. That's him telling me, because I never read the Quran. I never really read all the Bible, but, I do know that ones I've heard and parts I did read of the Bible, I didn't say I didn't read, never wrote it, or read it, however you want to pronounce it. I have read some. And I read where it says, love thy neighbor, and don't judge. But it also says, shall not, and this is in the Ten Commandments, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder. And that's when I'm going to go back to earlier about women's lib. They want to sit up there and talk about this abortion thing. And I don't want to rehash old stories, but there's a purpose and reason why I'm saying what I'm about to say. Is they want to sit up there and say, oh, well, you can't tell me I can't have an abortion. True. At the end of the day, regardless of any scientist says, it is an abomination to commit murder. Even though that it may not have eyes and hearts and lungs and kidney, all the organs that we carry, it is still a human being grown within inside your body. Because what if all this time that all these women who did have an abortion think they're going to go to heaven, and they're standing in line and God says, you killed one of my lost child. You took your child on earth, but you took my child in vain. And you're like, oh wait, you can't do all that. And he says, I control this. You might control that down there in your body, but I control up here. And he tells you can't go to heaven. People got to realize that we do things opposite of the Bible. We're sitting up here judging this man. I don't know if he ever said the N word. I don't know if he had slaves. But I do know this. He did, especially that Robert E. Lee and any other ones that fought for the military. That would be like having Chris Kyle having a statue today, and all of a sudden they tell him, oh no, you got to take it down. What if that would have been somebody like, let's say an actor like Denzel Washington served the military and he killed somebody and they monument him and he dies? Does that mean he has to take it down because, one, he represents the military, two, because he killed somebody? I know I'm bouncing around and I do apologize. It's because I want to get it all out there while I'm thinking about respect and monuments and honoring and so forth. All in all, what I'm saying here is, don't get mad at me because I'm sitting up here and trying to defend this. If it does defend the African American community, yes, take it down. But don't forget them. Start a memorial for them in a building. Take it to the fair park. Take them to one of them car show areas. Take it and still have respect for them. Because I wouldn't want nobody to disrespect him, and I wouldn't want nobody to disrespect Martin Luther King, even though his statue's in Georgia. if you're going to do this and do that, and they want to say take it down, don't take them down. Just put them in a location that be secured and they still be monetized and respected as an individual. If it don't make sense to you, all in all, what I'm saying is, think about all the dead people who we lose. What if all of a sudden it's not just because they're civil rights leader or fought for the country? What if they all of a sudden say, oh, well, you couldn't have a headstone on a grave? I know it don't make no sense, but that's basically what it means. These are like headstones for these men. I'd be like saying, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, oh, well, you can't put a headstone on there because, it just uglies up the landscape. I mean, I can't win for losing, but I kind of see the balance between race. We want the African American to understand that we do respect them, and I do respect African American people. But, what started it all is the rebel flag. Because of the Klansmen. There again. Because of one stupid idiot who puts sheets over their bodies and a cone hat over their head and used the word nigger, which doesn't mean the color of his skin, and I can't understand again why they would want to do that to the African Americans when they were freed by Abraham Lincoln and got the right to eat with the white people and sit anywhere is on the bus or what else, gives them right. Yeah, they deserve to have all that. But because of the Klansmen, they may think that all white people are assholes. And I'm here to tell you, I'm not an asshole. I don't hate black people. And if I ever, like now, if I ever say nigger out loud, it's not because of the color of your skin. It's because of the way I see a person's in it. And I know that's judgmental. If I sit there and say, for example, and I won't say who it is, but it's somebody in the family. And he's white. And he's a big nigger too. He's the biggest nigger I know. Does that mean I'm calling him a black person? No. It's just a person, he lives his lifestyle. I'm not going to go into details about that because, it's already bad enough that I don't even mention that person's name, or much less talk to that person. So don't think that, even though I said it out here on video, I'm not here to say that it's about the color of your skin. Just the way the characteristic of your lifestyle. I'm going to stop here. I hope that you understand that we can't stop the violence. We can't stop the judgmental. We just have to live with it and deal with it. But if I was to walk down, and I have lived around African American people, and I have met friends in the African American community, I want to be able to walk down and talk to you, and eventually work up to be a friendship with you. That's all I want to do, is be friends with everyone and anyone before I die. Hopefully it's by natural causes, but You know, I don't know how many people's going to like this video or how many people's going to hate it. You have the right to leave a comment, good or bad. If it's bad enough to where you think that I shouldn't make these videos, then I will comment on it, or just won't do it. But the whole purpose of me originally doing this video is, like that old saying, don't hate the player, or don't hate the game, hate the player. Well, it's kind of a little verse on this. Don't hate the person who fought and died for this country, just like these men I mentioned, whether it's Robert E. Lee or whoever, Patton and all them. But the white people shouldn't disrespect the African Americans, like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and